I think they appreciate it. They were throwing it back.
Well, they thought it was a curse. Would you like me to show them how the sign of the curse works?
Sign
it's completely different.
How does it go?
No, not at you people out there in the audience, but this is the difference.
Aim it toward Red China, would you?
This is the sign of the horns. A curse sign, the two fingers extended. This way, spread apart for sort of shotgun blast, you know.
I always figured if I ever met the devil, it'd have dirty fingernails. Go on.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Where?
Dirty fingernails.
Well, that's because I've been fooling around with your equipment.
Never mind. Don't blame it on the studio. Go on with it.
All right.
So that's the sign of the horn, and then what happens? Is that it?
Well, there are other ones, too.
Yeah, what are the other ones?
The other ones, one of them's the pox sign. That's 3 fingers extended.
A pox on you?
A pox on you. During the Middle Ages, this was...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like I found myself emailing him the other day about something that I wanted him to do for me, and I was like, when I just thought about it, I was like, that's so selfish, because it's like, what is the mind frame of somebody that's about to go to jail for months and that has never...
Because there's a bunch of devil worshipers in Hollywood. And there's a lot of black folks too. And they be throwing up them signs. You see them, this, that, all of them. Watch the rappers, watch them folks. It's scary. It's very scary. That devil is real.
Well, what is this?
Oh, the devil in this mess, yeah.
Because I closed this up. I thought this was rock on.
Be careful. No, the goat, be careful.
I get possessed by the spirits.
I mean, I can try, but then it just doesn't happen. I can sing notes and sing strong and do all these things that when I'm just by myself, I can't do. And I remember right before I performed, I raised my hands up, and it was kind of the first time I felt something else come into me.
I don't want to blame him. I asked him to leave, but he can't. He's here for a reason. People have brought him out. People conjured him up. Now he won't leave.
Why is your hand over your eyes?
Because I'm a devil worshiper. We're talking about.
It's a little bit off subject, but the same kind of principle. I heard that, and I won't mention his name, but it was a big leader and founder of a huge satanic organization. And he was on his deathbed, and for a Satanist at the time of death, it's a great victory for them, because death is a huge thing that they celebrate. And he was getting ready to die and pass on his powers and that. And on his deathbed, he must have got some revelation or an angelic appearance or something, and he went into shock and he said, "Oh my. Oh my, what have I done?" He said, "There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong."
Wow.
And his whole life had been spent propagating these satanic beliefs, getting everyone to believe, establishing official organizations for Satanism. And then at the end of his life, he gets this light that comes to him, and everything that he'd built, he realized was wrong.
Or is a decision been made?
The decision is like this close to being made.
Am I?
Yeah.
Does it mean I should give up?
You should give up and
yeah,
go. Oh, you go for the exclusive? You mean?
No. Yes, that too. Of course.
Songs, you know, you're still on tour.
I do, but I don't take it for granted.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I mean, I made a bargain with it, you know, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my hand.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with you know, with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
Bob Dylan has
You're doing really well now, but didn't you release a CD like almost 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I released a gospel record when I was 15 because I grew up in, you know, a household where all I ever did was listen to gospel music, and my parents are both traveling ministers, and so I kind of sang about, you know, what was going on in my life at 15, and that's how I got introduced to the music industry. I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music, yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
Let's be honest. I like to have fun, but also, before Jersey Shore, no one believes this when I say it, but I was a freaking, like, shy girl. I was very shy. That's funny that I say it now, but I was really shy. Like, I was scared to even, like, go to the doctors. So, anywho, so yeah, I was going to school to be a vet tech, and I was into my studies, getting good grades, and you know what screwed it all up was this one guy. He broke my heart, and I was like, cool, thanks. I was like, now I have to do something pretty ridiculous and insane with my life, so why not sell my soul and go on Jersey Shore? That's what I did. And you know what? It's been awesome.
She's going to be mad at you.
Well, also my book is that, you know, and I wanted to thank you because you let me come on your show and sing. And that was, you know, a lot of my book is about my wanting to sing ever since I was a little girl, and my family lied to me and told me that I was better than Shirley Temple, and I believed them.
See, that, you're not helping a kid when you do that.
No, and I totally believed them and everything. And then when I was 6, all of a sudden, you know, I was a they started to, like, tell my younger cousin that she was...
she was the real singer?
Yeah, and it, like, really upset me, so I, like, summoned Satan, and I write about how I made it...
Where do you summon Satan in the book?
It's in the chapter called Eat, Pray, Love, Conjure Satan. And when I was 12 years old, I signed a deal with Satan in my room, and I was to...
CBS doesn't condone this.
Wait a minute. Because I wanted to get famous no matter what, and, you know, then I forgot that I had this deal with Satan and everything, and then I got really famous. And then one day I, like, had this tragic singing accident at the...
yes, I remember that, yeah.
And I realized then that Satan was coming for my soul. So, yeah, he wanted me to pay up, so... About that, and how at the end I invite Satan to dinner at Spago. And
you should... He's there most nights, but you should...
But wait, and I ask him to, you know, give me a refinance on my soul thing. And so that works out. It has a happy ending.
Oh, that's... So you and Satan are good now?
Yeah, Satan, I have to say it's really cool because I totally...
Satan is not true. You can't say that on CBS.
I didn't say that. I said I lure him in, see?
Oh, and then you have a fiddle competition. That's the way to do it. Yeah. Do you play the fiddle?
No.
Any musical instrument?
Well, I have taken musical... lessons in my life, but I don't really play. I forgot it. I don't know. I took the piano for a while. What a weird question.
in that chair. We talked about Blue Streak.
I love that.
He played a role in your life, I believe. How do you feel about him as a person, as an artist?
Martin Lawrence is the guy that showed everybody you can make it from D.C. to Hollywood. And I had a personal stake in his success. Every time he did something, it made me feel inspired and really good. And he was always real nice to me. He'd sit me down, what's going on with you, baby boy? What? We'd talk about comedy, whatever. And, you know, when we did Blue Streak, we were promoting it, and Martin had a stroke. He almost died. And then after that, I saw him, and I was like, oh, my God, Martin, are you okay? And he said, I got the best sleep I ever got in my life. That's how tough he is. So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, they are trying to kill me?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick.
What did you mean, Dave, when you described your father's death in 1998 as the beginning of a terrible decline?
I was 23 when I was doing Half Baked. I was getting ready to turn 24. And I was going through all the things that a dude goes through when it goes from one level to the next. I was starring in a movie that I wrote. So things start getting crazy around you.
Yeah.
And my 24th birthday was coming on August the 24th, and I said, this is going to be a big one. And the morning that I turned 24, phone rang, and my sister was like, Dad had a stroke. For the next year, I watched my father teeter on life and death. And it was just all this stuff, man. Like Dad was dying, the Half Baked didn't come out the way I wanted it to come out. I was real upset about that. Because it was a real cool script, and then I saw it, I was like, hey man, you made a weed movie for kids. And it wasn't for kids, the script, you know. It was all these things, so much pressure. Africa. Then I was in Ohio. I get a call on my cell phone from Hollywood. I'm like, hello, Hollywood. They're like, hello, Dave. They're like, that pilot you did for Fox, looks like they want to pick it up. We need you to come out because they want to meet with you. And I was like, well, listen, I can't really come out right now. Got a real bad situation at home. Can we talk about this on the phone? No, they would rather meet with you in person. But you know, like the horror that they turned us into, I jumped on that plane and left my father's bedside, which I regret to this day, and I went out and I sat with these people in this room, and if you can imagine a large circle of people, and I was 12 o'clock, the black dude. Yeah, Dave, we really liked the show, but the pilot episode was about me getting booed off stage at the Apollo. They go, you know, but what are we going to do about it? I mean, there's not really any white people in it. I said, well, it's about the Apollo. It's not really white. Well, you know, we were thinking about the girl on the show. We didn't think she was that funny, not that good looking. I think we should recast her, maybe. And they started using terms like universal appeal. Basically saying they want me to recast a girl with a white woman. I said, yeah, I don't think I can do this, and I quit. On the cover of Variety, Chappelle pulls the race card. The race card. And I get calls from Newsweek, 60 Minutes. Everybody, we want your story. Now I'm scared to death. I'm like Rosa Parks or something. I'm like, I'm not ready for this. I was just venting a little bit. And then, a few months later, Dad dies. And that's hard for a young dude in his life. That's a real tough loss. I was there when he died. And he went from being my father to what are we going to do with the body. Within moments, it was over. And I'm going through all this stuff, and this is the guy I would usually talk to, right? Dead. And I got to figure this out for myself. I don't want to figure this out for myself. You know, I was beat down. I wasn't living right. You know what I mean? Like, the weed thing was just a bad habit at this point. And you know what I mean? All these, you know, chicken head girls you mess with when it comes with the territory. I'm just being real. Just being real. Just wasn't living right, man. I didn't feel good. And the stand-up stuff was just some angry stuff. It was just like I was kind of bottoming out. But when my dad died, because I've been commuting back and forth to Ohio so much, that's when I bought the farm, which I called the you Hollywood farm.
Did you stay in Yellow Springs for a while?
I live there to this day. I live there to this day. I'm raising my kids there. Look, man, at that point in your life, it's something so real in contrast to what Hollywood is, a very powerful illusion. And when your dad died, it kind of just broke the spell, like, oh, this is bullshit. Look, I've been spending so much time doing this. What about my family? What about my friends? Wait, whatever happened to my friends? Damn, I don't even have any friends. Ugh. So I bounced, man. New Year's Eve, 1999, I moved into that farm, and that was it. As far as I was concerned, I was done.
When you look in the mirror now, and the image that looks back at you, are there days when you say, well, I kind of like this, or I like my hair today? Or,
I'm never
I think I'm pretty cute today?
No, I'm pretty cute today. No, I try not to look in the mirror. I really do, because I'm never happy with what I see. So I go on with my work and get it done.
I have to ask you this. So many mothers in my audience have said to please ask you this question.
Yeah.
Why do you always grab your crotch?
Why do I grab my crotch?
Yeah, why? We think you got a thing with your crotch going on
I think
here.
it happens subliminally. When I dance, if you're a dancer, you know, you're just interpreting the sounds and the accompaniment of the music. If there's a driving bass, you become the bass. If there's a cello, if there's a string, you become that. So you become the emotion of what that sound is. Okay? So if I'm doing a movement and I go bam and I grab myself, it's the music that compels me to do it. It's not saying I'm getting ready to grab down there and it's not a great place. You don't think about it, it just happens. Sometimes I'll look back at the footage and I'll go, did I do that?
Yeah.
So I'm slave to the rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay?
I think the alarm's going off in the house. I don't know why. But we're going to fix it in a minute. We're in live television, so we're going to go to break. These things happen. We'll be right back.
What has this done to your career?
What has it done to my career?
What has it done to your career?
In what way?
How has it impacted,
my
touring, record
album's
sales?
#1 all over the world. All over the world. America's the only one because I don't want to say too much.
But it's not #1 in the United States.
It's Conspiracy, yeah. I don't want to say too much. I'm done. I don't want to say much because I'm hurting. I'm really hurting.
Where were you, Latoya, when you heard the sad news?
Well, I was actually, my father called me. I was at home, and I had just hung up the phone with my business partner, and he had just told me about Farrah, and I said, oh my, geez, I wonder who's next, because it always happens in threes. People controlled him. They controlled him. They did what they wanted, and it was very difficult for him to say no, no, no.
You must have seen this happening. Was there anything that you could do or say to Michael to change that situation?
It's very, very difficult because in situations such as that one, we've tried so many times to intervene. And it's not always that easy because they keep everybody at bay. They keep everyone away, actually. Everyone.
How did they do that?
By controlling. And I know because I have been in a controlling and abusive relationship, but by controlling him, controlling his thoughts, control what he does, not letting any, giving orders, not letting anyone through the gates, not letting anyone near security, things of that nature. And this way they have him and they control whatever he does. The phones, no phones in the house.
You suspect foul play.
Do you think, Michael, do you think it's murder?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I said it in the beginning and I believe it to this day. You must remember, Michael told me repeatedly that they were going to kill him, that he was going to die.
And who did it?
He made and created so much joy for the world. And the system, meaning the record companies, totally took advantage of it. But this is very important, what we're fighting for. Because I'm tired, I'm really, really tired of the manipulation. I'm tired of how the press is manipulating everything that's been happening in this situation. They do not tell the truth, they're liars. And they manipulate our history books. The history books are not true. It's a lie. The history books are lying. You need to know that. You must know that. All the forms of popular music, from jazz to hip hop to bebop to soul, you talk about the different dances, from the cakewalk to the jitterbug to the Charleston to break dancing. All these are forms of black dancing. The minute it became the all-time best-selling albums in history in the Guinness Book of World Records, overnight they called me a freak. They called me a homosexual. They called me a child molester. They said I tried to bleach my skin. They made everything to turn the public against me. This is all complete conspiracy. You have to know that. You know, it's time. I love you more. It's time for a change. And let's not leave this building and forget what has been said. Put it into your heart. Put it into your subconscious mind. And let's do something about it. We have to. We have to. Because it's been a long, long time coming. And a change has got to come. So let's hold our torches high and get the respect that we deserve. I love you. I love you. Don't put this in your heart today and forget it tomorrow. Because we will have not accomplished our purpose. We will have not accomplished our purpose if that happens. This has got to stop.
Thank you for, giving me the opportunity to be heard, in a positive light.
Yeah.
Or just in a fair light.
And if I inadvertently talk about your situation,
I got you.
You let me know.
I got you. I first came to Arizona, man, and I remember one day coming from the studio at 6 o'clock in the morning and pulling over on the highway. We like 4 cars, just to watch the sunrise. And it was at that point that I fell in love with Arizona. I said, you know what, this has to be God's country. Because I'd never seen anything as beautiful as that sunrise. Then I met the devil.
Non-stop
in
news
God's
at 10
country.
continues. Big Brother is watching. There's a nationwide push to start tracking where children are during school hours. They would basically be microchipped, kind of like a pet. ABC4 News wanted to know what parents in Utah think about the possible tracking system. The night team's Kimberly Nelson joins us now live in Salt Lake City. Kimberly, what are they saying?
Well, they're not excited about it, and here's the deal. Students who play hooky cost school districts money. So to recoup some of that money, they're taking those drastic steps, as you just mentioned. But parents we spoke with are outraged about what this could mean for our future. You may use it to get into secured buildings. And it's already embedded into most of your credit cards, being scanned every time you swipe. The technology is known as Radio Frequency Identification System, and it's soon going to be used at some schools across the country to track students' whereabouts.
Excuse me? They want to microchip my children? Like I do with my dog and my cat?
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
You better come back. We don't want your new world order, you know? Leave Chile right now. Leave Chile. You are not... You're killing a lot of people! You're killing a lot of people! Leave here! Leave Chile right now! Leave Chile! Leave Chile! We don't want your world government! Leave Chile right now! Leave Chile, okay? Leave Chile! Your family is the most disgusting in the world, you know? Leave here! Leave! You also, you're a traitor to Chile! Mr. Agustin Edwards, you're a traitor to Chile, okay? You're a traitor to Chile! What you're doing right now, okay? 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 You know everything. You know everything. You're participating with him. You're participating with him in this. Your world government will fail, okay? It will fail! Your world government will fail! Will fail! Will fail! You know it! Leave Chile right now! We don't want you here! We don't want your disgusting thing here! Leave Chile now!
I was wondering why I never heard about all these Supreme Court decisions in the media. So I really wanted the IRS's point of view, because to get the true story, it was imperative I hear both sides. I kept wishing Anthony Burke would call me back. He seemed like an honest man. I then proceeded to call my message machine.
Hi, this message is for Aaron Russo. This is Anthony Burke at the Internal Revenue Service. Let me suggest some people that you might want to think about talking to. One would be Don Alexander, who's a former commissioner who's here in town in Washington. Another would be Sheldon Cohen, who is both a former commissioner and former chief counsel. All those guys, I think, can answer your question about, where in the tax law it says that you have to pay taxes.
Wow, good news, I thought. So I called Sheldon Cohen because he used to be the IRS commissioner. He wrote the tax code, and he was also general counsel to the IRS. He is a true expert, and I couldn't find a better person to answer my questions. He graciously agreed to my interview. The reason I'm doing this documentary is because there are many people in America today who believe that there's no law that requires them to pay an income tax or file a 1040. And there are many people going to jail for it, fighting over it.
The Internal Revenue Code is authorized by the 16th Amendment.
I think it should be clarified. I think government should be transparent to the people. Why doesn't the IRS commissioner sit down with them and just explain it in clear English? Why?
I don't think they really care. I think they're just playing word games.
You don't think they're sincere people?
No, I don't think they're sincere people.
What does voluntary compliance mean? And why does the IRS code say it's voluntary to comply, not mandatory?
That's a word euphemism we use. We use voluntary compliance when we talk about traffic signals. Most people, at 2 o'clock in the morning, do you stop at a red light?
Yeah.
Is there a cop there?
Well, sometimes I don't.
Well, I do, and most of us do. Most of us do.
Right.
But that's voluntary compliance.
That was a complete perversion of logic. Traffic laws state that it is mandatory to stop at a red light. The IRS code says it's voluntary to comply. Mandatory and voluntary are the complete opposite of each other. Yet he wants us to believe that they mean the same thing. So can the government criminally prosecute somebody of information put on their 1040?
Yes.
Right, so doesn't that violate the Fifth Amendment?
No.
But the Fifth Amendment says I don't have to do anything that incriminates myself.
Well, it doesn't incriminate you to put your income down.
But you said before I could be put in jail for it. The commissioner wants us to believe that although the IRS demands that you fill out the 1040 and you can go to jail for it, that they are not violating your Fifth Amendment rights of self-incrimination. That is absurd. Isn't it true that the word income is not defined anywhere in the Internal Revenue Code?
The law says that the government has a right to tax income from any source derived.
So, but the word income is not defined in the code. It just says income without a definition
That's right.
of what income is.
That's right.
Correct?
Yeah.
But there are many different kinds of taxes. Well, how can an American citizen know what income is if the code doesn't define it? If they're paying an income
Because
tax...
the courts have all defined it.
Do you remember what constitutional attorney Edwin Vieira said?
The definition of income in the Constitution was given in the Eisner versus Macomber case, and it turns on gains or profits that are made from some activity.
So the Supreme Court has ruled income is not wages, it's not labor, it's gain from corporate activity. I believe that a man's labor is his private property.
That's your view, but it's not the law.
The Supreme Court's even said your labor is your private property. When I go to work for somebody, it's a trade. It's an even exchange. I do some work, you give me some money.
In 1916, we had the Brucheva case and the Stanton case. And the Brucheva case and the Stanton case said that the 16th Amendment gave the government no new taxing power.
I'm not going to argue the niceties of that with you.
And it came up again in a case called Peck versus Lowe, where the Supreme Court said the 16th Amendment did not extend Congress's taxing power to any new or accepted subjects. In other words, if you weren't taxable before the 16th, you weren't taxable after the 16th.
Today I interviewed a juror, okay, who sat on a case, and they found the person not guilty for lack of filing, okay? And I asked her why they found him not guilty. And she said because the IRS couldn't show us the law that made him liable to file a 1040.
All they need to do, if there is a law, is to show us the law, which, of course, they never did.
And the reason they didn't do it was why?
Because there is no law.
Title 26 requires you to file a return.
But doesn't Title 26 have to be in compliance with the Supreme Court decisions?
You're going to take a 1920 case and superimpose it on the whole Internal Revenue Code that was written after it? No, that's not.
I can't believe what I just heard. Rewind.
You're going to take a 1920 case and superimpose it on the whole Internal Revenue Code that was written after it? No, that's not.
Remember he said earlier the Internal Revenue Code was authorized by the 16th Amendment?
The Internal Revenue Code is authorized by the 16th Amendment.
Remember, the Supreme Court said the 16th Amendment did not give the government any new taxing power. These decisions have never been overturned. Let's listen further. Can the lower courts overrule the Supreme Court?
No.
How are they putting people in jail today for not paying a tax on their labor when the Supreme Court said they don't have to? Doesn't the IRS code have to be in compliance with the Supreme Court? That's my big question.
This is a waste of time.
Well,
because whatever I say, you're not going to believe.
He's right. I don't believe him. And neither should you. He wants us to believe we should obey the IRS code, which is being enforced in violation of the many Supreme Court decisions. If the Supreme Court made a decision...
Thank you, Aaron. I think we're finished.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cohen, you're doing that.
Well, I'm sorry that you constantly re-argue the point. You're liable because the law says that you're liable, and the courts say the law says you're liable, and that's why you're liable.
You see, he's talking about the lower courts, who are not in compliance with the Supreme Court, as they have to be. Doesn't the court have to be in compliance with the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court has so held.
Where?
You caught me unprepared.
I'll come back.
Well, I don't want to do that.
But let me ask you a hypothetical question.
No. You're making silly arguments here.
Why is the Supreme Court decision a silly argument?
Well, because it's inapplicable.
That made my heart stop. He just said Supreme Court decisions do not apply to the IRS. That's the behavior you would expect from a totalitarian country, maybe China or Russia or Cuba. Not from America. They're just making up the law as they go along. Now I knew the tax honesty movement was right. The IRS thrives on intimidation and fear, not by law. It's no different than a criminal protection racket, using force to extract your money from you. Then the former IRS commissioner, now working at a prestigious Washington law firm, threatens me. Watch.
Aaron, you understand Yiddish. Cornish helfen.
For those of you who don't understand Yiddish, that means nothing will help you. Now it all became clear. I understood why the IRS wouldn't go on camera and talk about where the law was. I understood why all the senators I called refused to be interviewed. There is no law. And now you know what our political leaders and the courts have known for decades and have tried to cover up. The United States Constitution strictly forbids a direct, unapportioned tax on the wages and salaries of American citizens. The United States Supreme Court has consistently ruled that the income tax is a tax on profits and gains, not on labor and wages. On behalf of the American people, I challenge the IRS to show me a statute that allows a direct, unapportioned tax on the wages and labor of the American people. And if I'm wrong, I will give my most humble apologies to the IRS. If the IRS is wrong, and there is no law, then every person who's been jailed should be let out of jail immediately, and any assets seized should be returned to their rightful owners. If this is a nation of laws and a free country, then the IRS should show the law to the American people.
I thank the gentleman. I rise in opposition of this bill, but I would like to clarify something. We're not trying to scare kids. This president's foreign policy is what's scaring the kids of this country. And that people have said today, why are people believing this? Why are people believing this big internet hoax? Well, it's the same people that told us Saddam Hussein had something to do with 9/11. Same people that told us Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. Same people that told us we were going to be able to use the oil for reconstruction money. Same people that told us that we'd be greeted as liberators, not occupiers. Same people, same president that told us the Taliban is gone. Same president that told us that Poland is our ally 2 days before they pull out. Same president that tells us Iraq is going just great. Same president that tells us the economy is going just great. Same people that told us the tax cut was going to create millions of jobs. Same people that told us that the Medicare program only cost $400 billion when it really cost $540 billion. So please forgive us for not believing what you're saying. Please forgive the students of this country for not believing what you're saying. Not one thing about this war that has been told to the American people or that has been told to these college students has been true. Not one thing. Bremer says we need more troops. The Pentagon says we need more troops. And this president can't get them from the international community. There's only one option left. Let's be honest with the American people. I yield back the balance of my time.
If we are to escape the same fate that befell the Neanderthals and our other experimental predecessors, our best hope for survival is to crack our genetic code and activate the power of our divine DNA. Dr. Hammer, a molecular geneticist, claims he has identified the God gene in human DNA. It's called VMAT2, and its job is to release the feel-good chemicals in our body called dopamine and serotonin, which give us the experience of bliss. VMAT2 is the DNA gene of our pineal gland. What's the pineal gland? It's a gland about the size of a raisin located between our eyebrows and directly behind our eyes, right smack in the middle of our cranium. It's called the pineal gland because it resembles a tiny pine cone. This powerful gland is believed to be the seat of our soul and the gateway to the universe and higher realms. Because its structure is remarkably similar to our eyeballs, it's called the third eye or the mind's eye. It actually has a lens, cornea, and retina. The blue bloods revere it. They call it the all-seeing eye and have featured it on the US $1 bill. Strangely, our pineal gland, which is tucked away in the dark recesses of our brain, is bioluminescent and sensitive to light. Like a cell phone, it has a built-in wireless transmitter and is the connecting link between the physical and spiritual worlds and higher frequencies. By awakening our pineal gland, we can speed up our learning and memory abilities, enhance our intuition, wisdom, and creativity, trigger our psychic healing abilities, and experience bliss. The symbol of this pine cone-shaped gland is the pine cone. It is so revered by the Vatican that a special court was built called the Court of the Pine Cone, where the symbol of the world's largest pineal gland is on display. The symbol is also found on the staff of the Pope and the Egyptian god Osiris. Considering the power and function of the pineal gland, why has it been ignored and given so little mainstream attention? Why? Because it's our power source, and the ruling families know this. Medical science refers to the pineal gland as the atrophied third eye. By the age of 12, it is already calcified and hardened, and by adulthood, it is dormant and atrophied from lack of use. Recent research reveals that fluoride, which is a toxic additive to our water supply and toothpaste, accumulates in the pineal gland where it wreaks havoc. Outdoor activities, eating less sugar, and eliminating processed foods and fluoride from our diet can help to revitalize it.